Santa Misra wishes to say something?
No.
Okay. Okay, madam. Next, we have in the sequence Professor Santa Misra from Odisha. He is the former professor of psychology, Misra University, Cuttack, Odisha, India. She has got PhD degree from Berhampur University, Berhampur, Odisha. She has, to her credit, 37 years of teaching experience. She has been the editor, Odisha Journal of Social Sciences. She has authored 6 books. She has, to her credit, 5 research projects, She has attended many seminars, international conferences, and symposiums. Moreover, she has developed quality of life questionnaires. She has developed course curriculum for university yoga gerontology. May I request Professor Santa Misra to present her PPT and also share with us a valuable viewpoint on the topic. Please, Dr. Santa Misra, Madam, please.
Thank you. Esteemed Vice Chancellor, Vinova University, Hazaribagh, Jharkhand. Honorable Professor Ryo Takahashi from Japan. Respected Professor Anjum, for whom only I am here. Respected Mr. Tamim from Sri Lanka. Respected Professor Rahman from B.N. Mandal University, Bihar. Respected Professor Rajak, Head of the Department of Psychology and Director of IPS Cell of the University. My lovely students, all the elites and all the inmates of this university present here. Very good afternoon to you all. It's really a great opportunity for me to be here in this Vinova University of Hazaribagh. Thanks to Dr. Rajak who chose me to be here. I'll start with a sloka from Nirvana Satakam, which is the sole spirit of research ethics that our rich Indian culture has reached its aim by leading scientific researchers from the time immemorial. Just we have to implement it in our life reading processes. I will start with it and also I will end with this philosophy. So to start with, Manobuddhankara Gita Ninaham Nachatrotra Jive Nachadhyana Vetri Nachadhyana Hiranandarupa Ivoham Hiranandarupa Ivoham. The point is, when we can able to understand the real philosophy of life, when we can able to understand what to do, what should not be done, and how to carry on all the life-living processes with this philosophy of Nirvana Satakam, then there will be no problem. And I think after this realization, there will be no necessity of explaining any research ethics. Anyway, I have to say about this research ethics as requested by the organizing committee. The key avenue of my presentation is to create awareness among the students for research, to motivate the students for scientific research, to give ideas on research in the true sense of the term. They are mostly focused on research ethics, detailed ideas on research ethics like the characteristics, types, sources, principles, approaches, and advantages, etc. Then to make conscious to the researchers for research misconducts. Then next slide, yes, research ethics. You know, research is the pillar of knowledge and it constitutes an integral part of the progress in each and every aspect of our life. ethics are broadly the set of rules, written and unwritten, that govern our expectations of our own and others' behavior. But research ethics is a core aspect of the research work and the foundation of the research design. Next, please. Then the question arises, is there any difference between research ethics and ethics? To say about it, ethics are the moral principles that a person must follow, irrespective of the place or time. The scope of ethics is wide, which is mainly concerned with the principles or causes of action, like what obligation is common to all, what is good in all good acts, the sense of duty and responsibility for individuals and society. But the research ethics focus on the moral principles that researchers must follow in their respective fields of research based on honesty and integrity. The research ethics govern the standards of conduct for scientific researchers. It is important to adhere to ethical principles in order to protect the dignity, rights, and the welfare of research participants. Then, what is research? Next slide, please. Next, please. What is research? Research, you can say, to its exact meaning, re means again. So, to solve it again and again, research. This presentation deals with the aim and purpose of the research, the process of research. These are the objectives of the research, what I want to say. The main aim and purpose of the research, the process of research, the 7 steps of the research processes, the problem in research, general characteristics to research, and ethics in research. Now, coming to the aim or purpose of the research, the aim of the research is the overall purpose of conducting the research. It could be to add to the knowledge in the area, to address an existing gap in the knowledge, and to divine and teach a solution to an existing problem, and so on. Next, please. Then one of the important facts of the research is the honesty and integrity in the research. Research integrity means conducting research in a way which allows others to have trust and confidence in the methods used and the findings that result from this. Within the university, conducting the research with the integrity also means meeting the professional standards expected from our own researchers. Then the honesty. The intellectual honesty in proposing, performing, and reporting research refers to the honesty with the respect of meaning of one's research. It is expected that researchers present proposals and data honestly and communicate their best understanding of the work to the society, either in writing or in verbal manner. Then the process of research. Research process consists of a series of steps of action required for effectively conducting research. While formulating the research problem, extensive literature survey, developing hypothesis, preparing the research design, determining the sample design, collecting the data, execution of the project, and analysis of the data, etc. Then the 7 steps of the research process. What should be the step? How we will do the research? By step. First of all, there must be the identification of research problem. Without one identification of research problem, without any problem, there cannot be any research. You can see in your day-to-day life also what you are doing. There must be a need. There must be a desire. There must be one objective to do something. Then only you are doing everything. So there must be a research problem. Then after getting the problem, what you have to do, you have to formulate the hypothesis. Next one is the formulation of hypothesis. And by formulating the hypothesis, you can have that null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis, and after conducting the research, you can interpret accordingly. Then what you have to do? You have to collect the review of related literatures. What has been experimented, what has been found out, And what has not yet been found out, you have to do it. You have to do that research. Then accordingly, after deciding all these things, you have to prepare a research design. Without a proper designing, without a proper research design, you cannot able to do the research properly. Then the actual experimentation will be carried out. After conducting the research, you can have your result analysis, and after analyzing the results, you can have your discussion and conclusions. Then, based on that research discussions and conclusions, you can have your suggestions or recommendations to the society at large. After analyzing all these things, we must focus upon the problems in research. While doing all these things, why there are some obstacles, why there are some demerits, or what are the different criteria which will create problem for us, it must be taken into consideration. A research problem is a statement about an area of concern, a condition to be improved, a difficulty to be eliminated, or a troubling question that exists in the scholarly literature, in theory or in practice, that points to the need of meaningful understanding and deliberate investigation. So after analyzing all these things, we must switch over to the next point. That is, what are the general characteristics of a research? The general characteristics of a research indicates that it gathers new knowledge or data from primary or first-hand sources. It places emphasis upon the discovery of general principles. It is an exact, systematic, and accurate investigation. It uses certain valid data gathering devices. Then systematic and control, how to do the systematic data, how to do the systematic research, and how to do the control research. Then the objectives should be unbiased and logical. All findings are logically based and should be empirical. Then, after analyzing all these things, we should know who has found out the ethics, who has coined the term ethics and the research ethics. Richard Paul and Linda Elder, for the first time, they used the concept and principles of ethical research and they guide us in determining what behavior helps or harms in the forthcoming research. Thus, the scope of ethics is wide, which is mainly concerned with the principles or causes of action as what obligation is common to all, what is good in all good acts, the sense of duty and responsibility for individuals and society. Then, what the research ethics should deal with? The research ethics should involve the application of the fundamental ethical principles to research activities, which include the design and implementation of research, the respect towards society and others, the use of resources and research outputs, scientific misconduct, and the regulation of the research. Thus, the characteristics of the ethics should be the ethical behavior should include the honesty, fairness, integrity, understanding the objectivity, morality, prudence, openness, and respect to the intellectual property, confidentiality, responsible publication, responsible management, respect for colleagues, social responsibility, anti-discrimination, etc. Thus, ethics is traditionally subdivided into the normative ethics and meta-ethics and applied ethics. The components of ethical principles are honesty, integrity, etc. What I have just explained beforehand, objectivity, etc. These are details about that. I would like to switch over all these things because if I will say all these things detail, then it will take more time, and I think I have limited time to explain. Then morality, then prudence, then openness, then respect for intellectual property, then confidentiality, then responsible publication, then responsible management, then respect for colleagues, social responsibility, anti-discrimination, competence, legitimacy, security, then the principles of research ethics. Next slide. Principles of research ethics. All researches should be based on certain basic principles. And Without these basic principles, we cannot able to do a perfect research. There should be the minimizing the risk of harm, obtaining the informed consent, protecting anonymity and confidentiality, avoiding deceptive practices, providing the rights to withdraw. Then the five sources of ethical standards are the utilitarian approach, the rights approach, the harmless approach, the common good approach, the virtue approach. Then how to decide what is ethical or not? This approach indicates that there are certain things which are ethical in some sphere and is non-ethical in some other spheres. You can take the example of our cultural variation. In our cultural variation, something is logical in one culture and something is illogical in another culture. So we have to focus upon what is rational in the context of environment. Then these are the different points in which we have to focus upon while analyzing on the different ethical values or ethical processes. Then let us discuss about advantage of research ethics. Why should we focus upon research ethics? There are different merits, the advantages for this research ethics for which we should focus upon the research ethics. The research ethics promote the aims of research. It increases trust among the researcher and the respondent. It is important to adhere to ethical principles in order to protect the dignity, rights, and welfare of research participants. Researchers can be held accountable and answerable for their action. Ethics promote social and moral values. It promotes the ambitions of the research, such as understanding varieties and indulging in the main points of the research and avoiding the errors. The ethical standards uphold the values that are valid to cooperate with work, such as beliefs, etc. etc. The ethical is also the ethical norms in the research, which indicates that there must be a constructive constructive aptitude in the development of the research. Then, without considering the negative aspect of the research ethics, the analysis and the discussion will be a haphazard one. So, next is the research misconducts. What are the research misconducts? The research misconducts are the follows, like fabrication, falsification, plagiarism, proposing, performing, and reviewing the research, etc. These are the details about all these things. I am just skipping over to the next because I have less time. The criteria for research misconduct. What should be the criteria to control this research misconduct? It represents a significant departure from accepted practices, has been continued intentionally or knowingly to avoid the research misconducts. It can be proven by the preponderance of the evidence. Then what is not the misconduct? The negative aspect, the no to misconducts are honesty and unintentional errors. Then obtaining the informed consent, all these things you can have here. What I would like to say, I am coming to the last portion, the high process of ethical standards. I have explained it. Then the next one is some important declaration of the ethical principles by the government. These are the different rules and regulations provided by the Supreme Court and from the government level in different areas. The next is the most important factor. All these things what I have said till now, you can get all these things from your Google. And you can get also from the internet. But the main thing what I have to intimate here is the important aspect is the personal qualities of the researcher. Like his or her attitude, motivation, perception, emotion, his creativity, thinking, intelligence, personality. These count. These count a lot in the analysis of. These are the factors which are very much important in the analysis of the ethical value of the research. The next one is the physical and mental health of the researcher. The researcher should be physically fit, otherwise he cannot able to do. You can take the example of the ISRO, who reached the moon. And can you imagine how they have labored hard to reach there? You can't imagine. They forget their families, they forget their food, their sleep, everything, friends, fellowship, everything they have forgotten. And they have their research work on this Chandrayaan. So unless and until one will be physically or biological fit, he cannot able to do that. Next one is the mental health. The researcher should be sound in his mental condition. Otherwise, we cannot do any research. And even if we cannot able to do with the ethical values. Next one is the family support. There must be perfect support from the family. Otherwise, the research cannot be proceeded. Next one is the professional person and the involvement of the institution. How the person is professional to the research work and how the institution is supporting. This is the example where we are sitting here to discuss about the research ethics. There is a support from the university, and I came to know from Professor Rajat that governor has emphasized to do this research, to this seminar. So just imagine how the institutions, the administration and the government is motivating the researchers to do the work. And with the motivation from the government level and non-government level, the professional characteristics of the researcher, that is, also his or her own firmness, determination, involvement, sincerity, all these things are also very much important in the research activity. Then the social and environmental support. If the society, culture, and the environment will not support it, then also the person concerned cannot able to do the research. And I have also explained you about the government support. So, both heredity and environment are having their particular effect upon our behavior. There must be coordination between the biological factors and the environmental factors. Then we can have the perfect behavioral manifestation. So to conclude, I can say there is the necessity of mindset of the researcher and the person around them. There is a need from government level, from the institutional level to support the research values, to support the research activity, which is now very well acting. You can have several examples, and this seminar is also one of the examples of that. There is a necessity of engineering and re-engineering the thought process. That means what we are having our thought process, what we are having the values, what we are having our mindset beforehand may not be appropriate to this situation. So we have to re-engineer our thought process. Accordingly, we can have the research progress. Then we must follow the philosophy of yoga gerontology. What Professor Rio Takahashi has just given a hint because he has very less time to talk. We must follow the philosophy of yoga gerontology, which is Indian in its origin. And I am very proud to be an Indian because everything is, whenever you are analyzing on the ethics, values, philosophies, religion, etc., everything is in our culture. Everything is being started from our Indian culture. So the ethical values should be from within. These ethical values which we are having in our own body, mind, and in our culture must be implemented from within. By analyzing these in the seminars, by conducting various orientation courses, conferences, seminars from outside. We cannot implement. We cannot transplant like a tree. But these transplantation, these societal factors, these conferences, seminars should have its effect within the individual, should affect the motivation, the attitude, the perception, the emotion, the thinking capacity of the individual. Then only we can have our research ethics. Then only we can have our researches with the ethical values. And when we can have it, after realizing the fact. So these ethical values, the ethics in research should be within the person concerned, should be on the realization of the person concerned. Then you can have a good research, and then only the research can be fostered with ethical values. So thank you very much for giving me this chance to all the members of this university, and especially to Professor Rajat and Professor Anjum. I actually, within one day, I have to prepare everything. So, as much as I can, I have presented. Again, thanking to the Vice Chancellor and all the members of the university who have contributed a lot to this conference. I oblige them. Again, I thank to you all. Namaste.
Thank you, Madam. Dr. Santa Misra. It was very beneficial. The presentation on the research ethics, point-wise, with examples, focusing on ethical values and its advantages as far as research ethics is concerned. It was really very informative. We have known the real aim and objective of research ethics through your presentation. And you have verily said that ethics comes from within. With the research ethics, life ethics, it cannot be transplanted. It comes from society. It comes from the mirror of society that is the textbook. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Madam.